Hi, I'm Joe, and this is Kat. We are going to show you how to build a foreign language vocabulary, a library of words, by listening, looking, and using your imagination. You can use any list of words or flashcards. Accurate pronunciation can be found by listening with headphones to one of the many online programs created by native speakers. Pimsleur also has excellent audio programs. Where do words come from? When we want to say something, how do we make those words come to mind? It is often a picture, an interaction, or a feeling that starts the process of bringing a word to mind. The picture is not a picture of the letters D-O-G, but rather a picture of the animal that barks and wags its tail. In English, we use the letters D-O-G to represent this animal. In German, they use der Hund. In Spanish, el perro. In Chaluba, moi. And in French, le chien. More complex words and phrases may come to mind by thinking of some interaction. The word went can be abstract since it has elements of both time and place. He went to the house. Feelings and sensory input can add to this circle of meaning. We use the circle concept as a useful way to isolate and focus thoughts in order to help learn words. Pictures, interactions, and feelings may help bring meaning to consciousness, yet we may still not find the right word. A more systematic process to store and retrieve new words can help increase fluency. A word memory pattern should have at least 3 parts or vectors that come together. Number 1, a circle of meaning. Number 2, an arrow to the new word. And 3, a tent filled with people, all who speak the same language and so constitute the same language type. Thinking of any 2 should bring the third one to mind. This can be a reliable way to catalog new words and phrases, making them easier to retrieve. Fluency is more than just recalling words, however. The recall process will give slightly different results depending on which 2 we pick. Thinking about the meaning in the circle of meaning at the same time as the language type in the tent will generate the new word. Thinking about the new word and language type simultaneously will allow you to recognize the meaning of the circle of meaning. Thinking about the circle of meaning and the new word together will allow you to attribute the new word to the people in the tent. This attribution is very important early in the process of learning any new word. Imagine a toddler who has no internal dictionary and so must make the connection from an image to the sound of the word, or from the sound of the word to the image. Yet the toddler can pick up words in several languages by associating the sound of a word with the type of person that uses each sound. After some trial and error, the toddler will use milk when speaking to an Englishman, leche when speaking to a Spaniard, ma belle to someone who speaks Chaluba, and du lait to someone who speaks French. All of these will get him or her the same thing. Early in the learning process, it is important to have an image of the type of person who speaks the new language. You may already know a real person who speaks the language and belongs to that foreign language type, but you don't need to bring that person to mind each time you want to recall a new word. You should create your own caricature or cartoon of each foreign language type. Use your imagination to create an image that is simple and distinct. Make them your own. The subconscious mind works much faster than the conscious mind, so it is often best to simply set up the situation with a slow phase and then run through a rapid phase that will bring things together. It's a lot like setting out the ingredients before you bake a cake. Let's build a new foreign language word. Start with the slow phase where one can be deliberate. We create a circle of meaning with some English native language word on one side and the matching foreign language new word on the other side. Both words are broken down into syllables with underlines or arrows. Of course, we already know the English word, but separation of the English word into syllables can help us reach that part of the mind that constructs and deconstructs words. Take your time and make adjustments if needed. When you are ready, go back to the English side and use that word to help clarify the picture, interaction, or feeling inside the circle of meaning. As soon as the meaning comes into focus, your foreign language friend shows up and you want to tell him or her what is in your circle of meaning. In your imagination, rapidly draw one big arrow to the entire new word as you say it to your friend. Then imagine another person behind the door who did not hear what was going on, so you immediately turn and tell that person the new word. It doesn't matter that you only learned the word 2 seconds ago, you still know it. Next, you immediately imagine that you read the new word in a newspaper and you know what it means. Finally, imagine that you and your new friend immediately find another use for the new word. This is already part of your review and covers the points of generate, attribute, and recognize. Once you learn how to follow these steps, the rapid phase will only take a few seconds. Separation of words into syllables and awareness of the number of syllables is important because the order of these frequently used sounds are often key to understanding the meaning of a word. Only is not the same as Lyon, a city in France. Use your own phonetics, any group of letters that sounds right to you. This is especially true when learning non-Western languages that use characters or an unfamiliar alphabet. You can learn the proper alphabet and spelling later if you study the language more formally. Then you will likely have many aha moments when the spelling and syntax fall into place. Using one big arrow can bring syllables together into one thought. This one arrow includes articles and entire phrases. Imagining a big arrow is a form of neuroassociative conditioning, a technique used to associate a physical sensation such as tapping your body and using that to make an association of two other things. Creating a mental image such as one big arrow takes much less energy than tapping, but it has more precision that can be used to focus and enhance the mental image. An arrow not only consolidates the syllables into one thought, it also cuts through inhibition, saves time, and adds emotion. But where is the arrow? You could imagine it to be in the real space in front of you, or in some place in your mind, or a mixture of the two, since imagination brings together reality and mental images. Watu. Maji. Maziwa. Kuosha. Mbwa. If the number of syllables is unclear, use an arc over that group of letters to represent an elision, a blending of sounds. Review of words can be done on a timed basis, such as spaced repetition. In addition, review can be done by changing the size of the review group. Take an average of 5 new words and imagine going into the tent where everyone speaks the same foreign language. Then imagine using the new word for something inside the tent, and they all understand you. A 10-second mind clear after every 5 or 10 words can help. Imagine taking the recent things on your mind, one at a time, and set them down onto the table, chair, or floor around you. Let your mind clear itself in this way until you become aware of things around you in the present moment. This can provide closure for the memory that you just made and clears your mind for what is coming next. For stubborn words, one can take the new word with your foreign language friend and imagine more uses for that word. Write down the words. Make lists of words or make your own flashcards. Keep them simple. Use verb infinitives and simplify endings as a first approximation. More complex forms of verbs and phrases can be done later using the same method. The Ron White memory method can also be used for stubborn words. This method uses vivid, sometimes silly pictures as an intermediate step in the memorization process. Use the 5 W's, who, what, why, when, where, as additional vectors in the circle of meaning when storing the new word. Imagine taking a stubborn word into the tent and having a conversation. Try tapping a finger with each syllable and be aware of all the vowels in a new word. Ushi, ngombe, la vaca, diku. This video uses examples from multiple languages, but your review will be more efficient if you do one foreign language at a time. You might try one language each day for a couple days or a week. Then stick with one language for a month or more. Try various routines. You can also experiment with each step. Instead of turning to tell someone behind the door, imagine that you are talking to someone on the phone. In either case, focus on the sound of the new word. When you imagine reading the new word, either in a newspaper or on the screen, you can focus on the visual aspect of the word and letters. Realize that visualizing an image of a word or letters is not the same as the picture of the meaning in the circle of meaning. It is easy to forget about the arrow and cartoon. Simply going back and forth between two visual images of words may help you translate, but you may not become as fluent. You can drop the arrow and cartoon when the meaning and the new word become one thought, with no time lag in either direction, from the meaning to the word or from the word to the meaning. For numbers like 1, 2, 3, use digits for their meaning in the circle of meaning, since these are used in many languages. Habari gani? Malukai. Nichivo. Skulka. Harasho. Vada. Mayi. Lo. El agua. Buena suerte. Da dove viene?